Shalom, Koholoi, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Wakar, Kodash. I want to give double honor to the Apostle Whitman Stone. Salutation and honor to all you Akimadet that are doing the work in faithful and in truth. And the title of the video will be "Sign of America Falling." You know, and there are many signs of America falling, and the dollar currency, the U.S. dollar is one of them. You know, because now you got other countries now all around the world who now are thinking about dropping the U.S. dollar, and Venezuela is one of them that have made that move about dropping the American dollar. And I'm going to show video clips of it. And just press the play.
Story this hour, however, we look to Venezuela, which announced this week it will drop the U.S. dollar in trade transactions. Venezuela's industry minister, Tarek Al-Assami, made the announcement Tuesday, saying the country will no longer... Moving on to our top story this hour, however, we look to Venezuela, which announced this week it will drop the U.S. dollar in trade transactions. Venezuela's industry minister, Tarek Al-Assami, made the announcement Tuesday, saying the country will no longer submit to any monetary domination as U.S. intervention.
All transactions in the domestic exchange market will be referenced using the euro and other convertible currencies. We return to the scheme of the euro. The best help they can give the people of Venezuela is that imperialism pulls its murderous and criminal claws out of the country and let us be free. We will not be anyone's colony again.
With Venezuela and the dollar in question, we turn to former UK Member of Parliament George Galloway to discuss. George, what do you think is driving this? First of all, do you get a sense that in Europe and the UK as well, there's a sense of frustration about being tied to the US dollar?
Well, there's nothing so powerful as the power of an idea whose time has come. And the idea of breaking free of the hegemony of the US dollar is now everywhere, even in the most unlikely places. We've discussed before the foreign minister of Germany, once upon a time a client state of the United States, which is now open. An idea whose time has come, and the idea of breaking free of the hegemony of the US dollar is now everywhere. Even
Now he's saying that breaking free of the US dollar, and he's also telling you it's happening everywhere too, not just in Venezuela.
The most unlikely places. We've discussed before the foreign minister of Germany, once upon a time a client state of the United States, which is now openly searching for an alternative to dollarization in international trade. And this has spread, of course, farther and farther as the number of countries under sanctions and aggression of one kind or another at the hands of the US has literally multiplied. If you think about it, countries that are either sanctioned or threatened with sanction, why would they take the risk of continuing to rely on the US dollar, which is being used in such a politicized way? So Iran is under sanctions. Why would it trade in dollars, therefore? Why would Russia and China trade with each other or elsewhere in dollars when they are the subject of trade war and sanctions from the United States? And
you see, and that's what's going on. You know, America is sectioning all those other country, but yet they expect those other country to use their currency. You know, that just going to show you. You know what type of nation America is all about. You know, because America is all about controlling people. You know, controlling other country, other nation using that dollar currency, and now those other countries they're rising up against America.
Venezuela is the latest to conclude that such is the level of aggression coming out of Washington, such is the obvious regime change appetite in Washington, that they might as well bite the bullet and buck the dollar.
Considering how the U.S. reacted, though, to, for example, Saddam Hussein when he adopted the euro over the dollar several decades ago, what is Venezuela risking with this decision?
Well, of course, there's a big risk in it, but the level of enmity coming from Washington towards Venezuela has now reached the point of no return. So I think the conclusion is we'd be better hung for a sheep than a lamb, as we say here. The people in Venezuela know that they are on the end of yet another US regime change operation. So they might as well stand up, do the principled thing, and like the Iraqi leaders and the Libyan, by the way, which also sought to break away from the dollar, they risk, of course, being overthrown. But it's not as if that risk disappears if they don't take this step. I was actually in Baghdad. I was talking with members of the former leadership of Iraq when this move was being discussed. I did point out to them at the time that the US would regard it as a red line. But times have changed, and the number of US opponents / enemies has multiplied in that time. For a start, Russia, at the time that Iraq was under attack from the US, was more or less in an interregnum. Russia is now in the Axis full time, and so the number of countries and the importance of the countries in the crosshairs of United States hegemony has multiplied, and that paradoxically, or if you like, in a contradictory way, has strengthened the hands of those who are on the end of American aggression. There's more of them. They're more important than they were before.
And a lot of these countries, for example, Iran and Venezuela, produce oil, and the dollar is currently the standard currency used to trade that commodity, as well as, for example, gold. But do you think that could change, and if so, what would replace it?
Well, if you're Iran under sanctions and you're selling oil to China, which is under trade war from Donald Trump, why on earth would you trade in dollars? What do dollars have to do with it? The dollar could be an international reserve currency, the international reserve currency, if it wasn't being used in a politicized way. But it's quite obvious that it is, and therefore, why use it? The Chinese currency is very important, very strong. Russia's relationship with China means that the ruble is a strong currency. India, which is under threat of sanction from the United States over buying Russian military equipment, is a rising superpower in the international economy.
You see, because that's what's going on for America. Anyone that's against the idea, anyone that's trying to break free from America sees them as a threat, and he wants to remove them. You know, so and that's that big risk Venezuela is taking. Because look what happened with Libya. You know, because when Libya was about to break away from the dollar currency and to create their own currency using gold and silver, look what happened. You know, look what happened to Libya. Look what happened to Gaddafi. When Gaddafi came out with the idea to drop the dollar, you know, and to use his own currency. And what happened? He was removed from power. Now President of Venezuela is doing the same thing. Hey, the same thing may happen. Because the thing about America is that anyone or any country that stand against them, they'll use force. You know, they use force, you know, but that force that power that they have is depleting. You know, they're losing it. That is many sign that is one of the many signs of America's downfall. Is that currency, that dollar has now become worthless. You know, it's you don't have no value anymore. Nobody want to trade in anything for American dollar currency. You know, and bring you on in another article here. It says 7 country. Now this is the currencytrading.net, and he says 7 country considering embedding the U.S. dollar, and why it means Now, this article is like around 2007, I think, like from way back in 2007, or 2005. But those were countries that was considering from way back then of dropping the U.S. dollar. And then you got Saudi Arabia is one, South Korea, China. Now I said China after let me see. Oh yeah, me continue on it. Now you got China, you got Venezuela, you got Sudan, you got Iran, you got Russia. So that's 7 countries in total that's considered of dropping the U.S. dollar. Now they haven't really put into effect. Now he said Venezuela. Now Venezuela, they thought about dropping the U.S. dollar a long time ago. Now they have finally made that move, and the rest of those countries are gonna follow pursuit. They're gonna follow pursuit because you got again Saudi Arabia, South Korea, China, Venezuela, Sudan, Iran, Russia, and remember Libya was one of them that was considered about dropping that American currency, and look what happened to them. Because we are in a virtual war, and America are gonna fight to keep their power moving, but they're gonna lose that fight. And he says, countries. He said, what does this all mean? And when you in the bottom, he says, countries are growing wary of losing money on the falling dollar. Many of them want to protect their financial interests, and a number of them want to end the U.S. oversight that comes with using dollar. Although it's not clear how many of these countries will actually follow through on the betterment of the dollar, this is clear that its status as a world currency is in trouble. You see, America is in trouble right now. America is in deep shit. They're in trouble right now because a lot of countries, they're not just abandoning America currency, they are abandoning America altogether. If you go to Obadiah, which I'm going to bring out in Obadiah chapter 1, verse 4. And he says, I'm going to start verse 3 and 4. And he says, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, though that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that says in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Because America believes that their power will continue living on. That the structure, that the economic structure will never collapse, that they'll somehow remain strong. But a lot of people in this country, with their pride heart, they don't see that this country is already going down the drain, beginning with their currency. And that's one of the many of the sign. That's America's going down. And he says, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the store, this will not bring thee down, says the Lord. Because the moment the American set their nest, their space station amongst the store, the countdown of their falling begin. And that's one of the signs, one of the many signs. Just look what's happening in America today. The company is going down. The Dow Jones company lost 300 points. And the stock market of this country is shaking and ready to fall. Nothing is looking too good. But of course, the media will lie to the people and have them believe that the economy is doing all right, that the economy is doing good, that the economy will fix itself, that the economy is doing okay. Don't worry about it. That's what the media is telling the people, and they lie to the people's face, putting false status on the screen saying that, oh, this company is doing good, that company is doing good, which is not true because the company are actually losing or losing their stock. And the company are falling. And many people are losing their job. Look what's going on in California. There's a lot of people in California that are moving out of California to move in the East Coast to look for a job. And of course, people from down south moving out from down south up north looking for a job. Why is that? Because the economy system is bad. The dollar lost its value. It's no longer valid anymore. You know, and all those other nations are now gearing up war, which is a many sign, which is one of the many signs that America is falling. Russia is turning up against America. North Korea is turning up against America. Many other countries look at America as an enemy. That's a sign why they're letting you know that America is getting ready to fall. America is about to fall. And there's nothing on this earth that can save this country from its downfall. And the sign is right around you. The hyperinflation, money, and like all the prices going up. What does that tell you? Because that's the same thing that happened to the Roman Empire, to Rome. You know, the history is repeating itself. You know, and he says, let me jump down to verse 7, and Obadiah 1:7, and he says, all the men of the Confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. So when you're looking at the news, you hear about Russia and China and those other nations, you know, turning against America. That's a sign why they're letting you know that this country is about to go down. America is losing its allies. All the allies that America once had, that America ruled over, America losing its allies. Russia is a big ally for the United States. And China, they were at one point, but now Russia is no longer. And very soon China's going to follow suit, because even China, like I said before, is thinking about dropping that dollar. And once those other countries drop that dollar, the America economy will crash. And of course, that's what they're going to try to introduce the RFID chip, you know, and bring about a new world order. But that will also be a failure. You know, there's no hope. There is no hope for the United States of America. America is pretty much finished. You know, so with that, I'm going to say, Kol Haloi, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Wakar, Kodash. And I want to give double honor to the Apostle Great Millstone. Salutation and honor to all you Akim out there that are doing the work in faithful and in truth. Shalom.